Oh, so just a little background in case you don't remember. Mrs. Chen and I went to high school together, so we've been friends for a super long time now. And I don't think we decided to become engineers at the same time or anything. I didn't necessarily influence each other, but I don't know if there's much more to say. I told you guys I love saying this, that she married her high school sweetheart.
Oh my God.
So it's kind of cute.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
Yeah.
my and yeah, studied computer science, so this is a new field that we haven't yet talked about. All right, take it away.
Thank you guys for having me this afternoon. I'm very excited to be here. My name is Mrs. Chen, and I just brought a little presentation to tell you about what I do in computer science and how I got there, and why you guys should all consider it, because it's awesome. It's really fun. So, I work at a company called Eris, and this is the first thing you should know about my presentation. So this is a fact. Actually, it's a prediction. They can't see the future yet. But 71% of STEM jobs, do you guys know STEM, like science, technology, engineering, math, all that good stuff? That's going to be in computer science. You guys should think about that. Like every company needs a programmer. Every company needs an IT department. Everyone's got a website. Everyone's got a smartphone app. Everyone's got shipping databases that tell when products are coming and when inventory is low. This is just the nature of companies now. Everyone needs people that understand software design and about writing code. And this is probably what you think of when you think of computer science majors. I got this picture off of, I think it's the University of Wisconsin's website of their School of Computer Science, and I was like, I can't believe this. It's a bunch of guys. I'm not a guy. Anyone can do computer science. When I went to school, I went to University of Kansas, majored in computer science, almost minored in piano, but I didn't quite go that far on the piano. I love playing piano. It's really fun. And I played percussion too. I was in band with Ms. Chang, actually. She's a woman of many talents. But when I went to school, I only had 5 ladies in my computer science program, and it's still really hard to find women computer scientists in the workforce. So ladies out there especially, think about breaking down those barriers and those stereotypes. You can do it. Computer science it's fun. You don't have to fit the stereotype. So let me tell you a little bit more about myself. So this is my adorable family.
Oh my God.
Aw, yes, isn't he cute? That's my son. He's a year and a half now. And my husband, Jim's also an industrial engineer, so we're an engineering family. Which is great, because actually engineering jobs are pretty easy to find. Especially computer science, you're really not going to have a hard time finding a job if you get a computer degree. It's really, people are desperate for them right now. Actually, at my company, Eris, we've been looking for an entry-level person right out of college for months, and we finally found somebody and interviewed them, and they're starting June 1st. But it took a really long time, because there's just not that many candidates out there, at least U.S. citizens. There's a lot of people from India, a lot of people from China coming to the U.S. to do these degrees, but we need more people trying out the computer science. So that's my pitch. Okay, so really, about myself, let's see. So in college, in addition to my engineering degree, I did a study abroad program for a semester in Italy and France. It was so fun. So I really recommend you guys in college try study abroad. Get there however you can. It's going to blow your mind. I also did a study abroad in Japan for 3 weeks, which was super cool too. Very, very different from here. You might expect that. And I did the music program there. I didn't go to basketball games at University of Kansas because you couldn't physically get into the basketball games. It's too packed, but I watch them with friends. Basketball is a big thing there. You may know that. And when I graduated in Kansas, I moved back here to be with my high school sweetheart, who went to school here in Chicago. And got a job at AT&T working in their IT department doing a website for them, for their internal employees. So, and AT&T is a really big company, so they have all these jobs that are, like, customers never even see the work I do. It's a website just for employees, you know. And that was really neat, so I learned about making web pages. And then I moved to this company, Eris, that I'm at now, and they, I love my job. It's like we make the internet happen in people's houses, pretty much is how I explain it. Comcast is one of our biggest customers. They buy our giant boxes. It's a highly technical diagram. I'm going to draw you. It's a box, and here's your modem in your house. Like, this is your house, and you've got your internet. And we
talking about that white box that you hanging on like the poles and stuff.
No, that's actually more an AT&T technology. Ours is the like the black cable that your cable TV comes out of. Like our internet comes through.
Like the server?
It's not a server. It's something called a CMTS. Very exciting acronym, and it stands for Cable Modem Termination System. It just means a box where all the cable modems from everyone's houses end up at. That's the terminate part of where the So I write software on this box that controls your internet speed. So if you're only paying for that 10 megabits per second, you're only going to get that 10 megabits per second. Oh, I moved. I'm sorry. I can move. I'm going to move back. Okay. And we've got a guy on our team who does the security algorithms for this stuff. So people who hack and try and be your modem and get your internet, this is a thing. People get like a cable modem and plug it in and try and change the info on it so it looks like your modem that you're paying for because you're a real subscriber. And so we have code in there that detects that. We're like, no, that is not that real person. Like, this modem over here is the real person. We kick you out. We kick your internet out. So security is a big thing. That's pretty cool. Also, it's a great industry to be in because everyone's always going to want more download speeds and more upload speeds and have more tablets in their house and more streaming HD TV and your Amazon Prime and your Netflix. That all goes through our box. So it's like, yay, we're going to be around for a while, hopefully, unless people decide they don't want the internet anymore, which would be very, very sad. I don't know that I could live like that. So that's kind of like what I do. And who I am. No, don't go away, computer. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about some things about computer science that you might not know. So the first computer programmer was a woman. What? In 1831. Lady Ada Lovelace in England. And the first computer is this giant wooden train-like thing. It was like the size of a locomotive, and it was made out of wood. And it had all these moving parts and wheels, and it was supposed to do calculus for you, like your TI-83 or TI-86, except it was a giant wooden thing. So Lady Ada wrote all these instructions out how do you use this giant wooden box to get calculus. So people call her the first computer programmer because it was a set of instructions for telling this computer what to do. Now we've come a long way. If you look at your smartphone, it's not the size of a locomotive. Some famous women, Sheryl Sandberg, she has been in the news, poor thing, as she just lost her husband, which is very sad. She's Facebook's chief operating officer. She has a technical background. She knows programming. She's highly successful. So you could end up COO of Facebook or CEO of your own company as an engineer. You just don't know. Marissa Mayer is Yahoo's CEO. She was a computer science major from Stanford and worked at Google when it first started up. Like, she was one of the first, I think she was the 20th person hired in Google, so she did pretty well for herself. And now she's in charge of all of Yahoo. And she's got a young son as well and a husband, and she's kicking butt out there. to do if I'm an engineer or a computer scientist? Like, what kind of role, what kind of company am I going to work at? Yeah, you could do any company. This is what I'm trying to tell you. So if you love arts, you can work for a museum's website or a website that art dealers use to locate art to buy. Or you could, if you love food, you could work for like a restaurant or a food supplier. Like, did you know there's trucks that drive around supplying lobster to Chicago area restaurants? Like, they have, how do they know how much lobster to get to one restaurant? There's a computer system back there saying, okay, this person ordered like 30 lobsters at this restaurant, this person ordered this many, and it's a whole tracking system. That's a strange fact. I'm not really sure why I brought lobsters into this, but food. Or music. I love music. There's all these up-and-coming companies in Chicago that are doing like music apps on your iPhone. App development is huge, and that one is really easy to get started on your own. Like, you can look up how to be an app programmer. So I put a picture of Starbucks on here. You might think, how does engineering tie into Starbucks? Well, Starbucks, not only do they have the like industrial engineers that figure out the production line of making the little Starbucks cups and the green ink on the cups, and they have a supply chain department that has a whole IT system that tracks how much coffee is going to this place, and will this store run out of coffee, because you do not want your Starbucks to run out of coffee. That'd be very, very bad. There's like any part of the manufacturing and design of something that you can physically touch, like the table, your backpack, the floor, the projector. Engineering made that happen. It's people who, it's a very creative job. It's people who know how to design and create something. So I don't know if people think of it as a creative job, but for me, my job is very creative. I got two parts to my job. One is fixing problems that are found out in the field, like Comcast calls us and says, hey, we had an internet outage last night. What happened? We're like, ooh, we'll go figure that out. So I'm trying to look through our code and debugging and saying, okay, where did it go wrong? So it's a very like creative problem solving, because you don't know exactly what happened. If you had known what happened, the bug wouldn't have been there. So then the other part that I do is creating new features. So, Comcast will say, our customers really need twice the internet speeds that we can currently offer them. What can you do? So we go back and we're like, okay, well, if we just rewrite this piece and we make some hardware changes over here, I think we can get them that higher speed. So that's like a creative process of how I'm going to make this happen. And there's nobody telling you how to make it happen. You've got your piece assigned. They said, Laura, you're in charge of this. And you say, okay, we're going to go figure it out. And you can ask people and things, but it's it is like it's a creative process. So that's really fun. So I know you've had speakers from other engineering majors, but I just wanted to put a few bullets on them on the board just while we're talking about it, so you can kind of think about, well, what's really the difference between them? Which one am I interested in, maybe? So I've talked about computer science. Electrical engineering is our hardware guys at my company, so they're actually making the box. I write code that goes on the box. They're making the box. Mechanical engineering is really cool. So you're involved in more creation and design than like of something physical, right? Something you can see. Computer science, like you can see what happens when you run the code, but your code is its own language thing. And civil and environmental and architectural, you build stuff. Aerospace, chemical and petroleum, that's a big thing now in terms of green energy. Like a lot of colleges are offering majors in bioengineering. That's the second one, in like green energy type of thing. So if you get a petroleum major, you might actually be also researching ways to not use petroleum anymore because it's a non-renewable resource. And then bio was the other one that is really up and coming too. It was just starting out when I was in college, which was forever ago. But now it's really picking up. So if you're kind of interested in medicine or being a doctor, but you may be not wanting to do a 10-year degree that's going to cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. But maybe look into bioengineering. It might pique your interest, and tons of companies around here are looking for that as well. And then industrial, that's kind of you're making sure things are being made in the best way possible, which is a really important job, because if you buy your iPhone and it doesn't work, that's probably in the production line somewhere that happened in China. Like someone was using a subpar component, and you let that happen, and that's no good. Now people have broken iPhones, and the world is over. So that's kind of the different kinds of engineering. And then I just wanted to tell you some things you might not know. So if you love music or math or foreign language, puzzles, I'm a puzzle geek. I'm not nerdy at all. I'm very nerdy. But those are all things that have similarities to engineering. So the computer language that you write, like I write in something called C++, it's basically just a foreign language. It's translating what I'm thinking in English into what the computer knows how to do. So, I don't know if you're taking Spanish or French or whatever, and you love it. Just think computer programming is not that far off. You're just typing it. And music is also language, so is math. They're just ways of expressing different things. So, fun facts there. And then I just wanted to put my contact info up. You're welcome to email me. I'd love to hear from you. If you have questions about a major you're considering or college, anything about college, I'd love to hear from you.
Engineer girl?
Engineer Girl, that's not my site. I wish it was, but it's a site that where it's connecting girls and women who are interested in engineering and are engineers, and kind of creating a support group, because it's very sad and strange, but there's still not a lot of ladies picking engineering. You wouldn't know that to look at me and Ms. Chang, right? But it's heavily male dominated, and there's really no reason why that should be. Out of this 4 letters in STEM, the other ones have plenty of women in it. It's just the engineering, the E1, that doesn't. So I don't know. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but you do kind of have an obstacle as a lady in terms of getting used to just being with a lot of guys all the time. But
Isn't that what your shirt says?
it's not that bad. You figure it out. That's kind of about me and engineering, and I'd love to hear questions from you guys. I'd be happy to answer. Yes, sir.
So you say you program CMTS, right?
I do. CMTS, yes.
What since it hook up to the house?
Yeah.
What's the other part that hook up?
So it's the CMTS is actually in a box in a room owned by Comcast somewhere in your city. It's called a head end. So it's this building that's like a concrete bunker that storms don't hit it and stuff. And it's got wires inside there from our box, the CMTS box, under the ground, out to your house, and it comes out through your wall to your cable modem. If you have like a Comcast modem or Wide Open West, or I don't know what you guys got out here. So that's the two ends. Like one end is in they call it the head end building with all the boxes, and then the other end is your house wall jack where your modem plugs into, or your DVR, your Comcast DVR. Same thing, same stuff. Yeah.
How do the head end? How do that connect to the internet?
So that's this thing called routing and networking. I'm like not that good at the routing networking side. That's a whole special team. So it does it by something called IP addresses. Yeah, so our box has an IP address. It has a bunch of IP addresses for every component actually, but it can talk to the next thing up in the internet, and it all gets eventually to where it's supposed to go via IP address tracking. So in your college degree, you'll probably take a networking course where they'll talk about how does stuff get around the internet. It's very magical and strange to me. But yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. Who else? I can talk talk about my baby. I can talk about no. Yeah, what's up?
Like, you said you learned C++.
Yeah.
Do you know any other coding languages?
Yeah, so Java also it's pretty similar to C++. And then some of the web stuff, like HTML and CSS is cascading style sheets. It's like just making stuff pretty on the website. And there's, it seems like there's new languages coming out every day. But really what I found out is if you know the fundamentals of problem solving and learning a language, you can pick up any other language because the concepts are the same. You don't have to be an expert, like you don't have to perfectly speak Italian or French if you know the base, like how you go about acquiring that language, if that makes sense.
What?
So you probably are going to learn one language in college. Your job might be another language, but you're not going to be that stressed about figuring it out because the concepts will be the same.
Wait, so how many languages do you know?
Me, probably like 2 really well, and then I've probably coded in another 6 for odd programming things here and there, like Perl. I had to do a Perl thing. JavaScript was a, it's just like they're just out there, and you can always Google how to do stuff too. You're like, I want to print this out in this language. What's the printout command for this language? Boom, website. We use Google all the time at my job. It's okay if you don't know something in here. If you know how to solve the problem, you know how to go out there and find the answer. Yeah. Did you have a question? Yeah.
What was the hardest code you've ever wrote?
Oh man, the hardest code I ever wrote. I had to write this one crazy assignment in college that was it's a lot of strange levels, but I had to write a program that would decipher and run other programs. So it was what they call a parsing thing. And that's actually how code works today. There's things called compilers that take what you wrote and decode it and figure out what you're really trying to do with the computer and then execute the instructions on the computer. So you're writing like the story of the instructions. So my thing that I had to write that was so hard was the thing that decodes other people's programs. So it's like compiler coding. And that was weird because you have to, as you're reading a letter in, like an S or an A, you have to know, did I just finish reading a word? Do I still have more letters to go? If I finished reading a word, what word was it, and what does that word mean? So it's like at every letter it reads in, you have to know, what do I do now? So it'd be like somebody talking to you one letter at a time, including space. They'd be like, H-I space M-R period. And as you hear each letter, you're like, did they finish a word yet? Am I processing that thought completely, or do they still have more to talk about in their sentence? So that was kind of it was a challenging concept for me. It's weird stuff. But it's cool. Yeah. What else? Anything about college?
What was the hardest class you took in college?
The hardest class I took in college, Japanese, because I was trying to prepare for this study abroad. And I don't think you can learn Japanese in a semester. I'm just going to put that out there if you're an English speaker. So I really needed probably a couple years in that. But I did end up with some basic, I could say like hello and good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu! Japanese always sounds very exciting. Yeah.
You remembered it after all.
I remembered it, yes. And that happened because you'd walk down your hotel hallway and the hotel staff would come out and it's early in the morning. You're like, I just want my coffee. And they're like, Ohayo gozaimasu! Well, I'm not ready for that. Yeah. They also eat fish for breakfast too in Japan. Interesting fact. I wasn't ready for that either. I was like, I need my sugary cereal. But it's very good to explore the cultures. My husband's from Taiwan, and I've been there a couple times too. It's they speak Mandarin Chinese, and they're like a couple hours flight off of China. So I think that's pretty cool. I definitely recommend traveling anywhere you can to in your life. Gives you a different perspective about what you have here. Other questions? What else? Oh, I answered. Oh, good. Man, I'm just good like that. I can sense your questions and just spit out the answers. Yeah.
What project are you currently working on?
So I'm currently working on this new, I guess it's a protocol for how the modem communicates with this box. So everything was fine. They had the standard. We knew what the modem was saying to us, and now they changed it all. Industry standard. That happens, and that's good because it's job security. So I can stay and keep programming and figuring that thing out. So do you guys know? Well, there's something called a downstream and an upstream. So downstream is like when you're downloading stuff on your laptop, and upstream is you're sending stuff up to the magical place up there. So they changed the way the downstream works in order to make less interruptions if something goes wrong. So what I learned this year is if somebody is using a hairdryer next to your cable modem in your house, it makes the signal not so good on that little black cable that feeds back into the CNTS. So I don't like why would noise do that? But you guys might be in physics. You might know about frequencies and signal interference, but apparently it messes up your downstream data. Or like if you've got your clothes dryer like right on top of your cable modem, which doesn't happen a lot, I don't think, but apparently often enough that someone complained about it. So they decided to rewrite the way the downstream works so that if there's a little bit of noise, like a hairdryer going, it's not going to bust up your whole downstream. You're still going to be able to download your stuff. It's going to like work around the noise via signal. So that's what I'm working on. It's this new change of handling the downstream. I don't know if that sounds boring, but it's not boring. It's awesome. So, and that's good for our company too.
Does it involve a lot of math?
Actually, it doesn't, but it does involve logic, like knowing decision making, like if this happens, I need to go do this thing, and when I do this thing, it's going to complete this, 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 and this. So I think math kind of helps you think in that frame of mind, like a logical frame of mind, but I don't use calculus. I'm just going to say it. I don't use calculus. So, yeah. I use like basic math concepts. But you do have to take some higher math in college if you're going to be an engineer, just to kind of prove to the college that you can solve problems logically. That's kind of why they do it. So, yeah, these are great questions.